How did one funny group chat turn into me getting served papers in a bright office lobby with strangers watching? Why did my husband stay calm for months, then end it in one legal move that started the same day? My name is Undine Mercer. I am 34. I worked as a claims coordinator in a noisy open-plan office where people talked like their words were free. At home, I liked clean counters and quiet floors. I liked the feeling that I managed everything. I told myself that was love. Ethan was my husband. He was 36. He worked in hospital IT, so his brain always stayed calm and careful. He moved slowly in the mornings, like he did not want to disturb the air. That used to feel safe. Later, it felt like weakness to me. I still think I was right to want more. That morning started like most mornings. The kitchen light was too bright. Nora sat at the table with her cereal and stared at the spoon like it was a problem to solve. Miles tried to climb onto the chair without help. Ethan helped him and wiped the milk ring off the table with a paper towel. I watched Ethan's hands. They were steady. Everything about him was steady. I hated that steadiness because it made my mess look louder. He asked if I was coming to the school meeting later. I said I could not because work was busy. He asked if I could try anyway. I said he was acting like my boss. He went quiet after that, and the quiet felt like blame. Ethan stood by the sink and looked at me like he wanted to choose his words with care. He asked why I had been making jokes about him lately. He said the jokes did not feel funny. He said he felt small when I laughed. I told him that he was being too sensitive. I told him that couples teased each other and it was normal. I told him that confidence was attractive and he should work on it. I did not say sorry because sorry felt like losing. Nora looked up when Ethan went quiet again. She asked if Dad was sad. I said Dad was tired. I said kids did not need to worry about adult feelings. Nora kept watching, like she did not believe me. When Ethan went upstairs to find Miles's other shoe, I opened my phone and scrolled fast. I told myself I was checking my schedule. I was also checking who had texted me. The screen showed my group chat with Mara and Jessa. The last message was a meme about fragile men. They had reacted with laughing faces. I smiled before I could stop myself. I told myself that those jokes were harmless. I told myself that Ethan made it easy because he took everything so serious. I told myself that respect follows results, and I had results. I ran our home. I planned birthdays. I kept the calendar. I made life work, so I deserved to laugh. In the driveway, Ethan loaded the kids into the car. He asked if I wanted coffee. I said I did not need anything. I said he could save his care for someone who appreciated it. I watched his shoulders go down a little, like he had been holding weight. On the way to school, the kids were loud in the back. Ethan did not yell. He asked them to use inside voices even in the car. I interrupted and told them to stop acting wild. Ethan looked at me and asked if I could speak softer. I said he always corrected me and it was annoying. At the drop-off line, Nora hugged Ethan tight. She did not hug me the same way. That bothered me more than it should. I told myself Ethan was making her like him more, like it was a game. Ethan kissed her forehead and told her to have a good day. He told Miles he would pick him up after his nap. His voice was normal, but his eyes were careful. When we finally drove away, Ethan asked if we could talk tonight without the kids. He said he wanted peace. He said he did not like how our home felt. I said our home felt fine. I said his moods made it heavy. I asked why he always needed a talk. He asked if I had told my friends details about his body. He asked because he heard something the night before, through the half-open patio door, when I thought he was asleep. He said he heard laughter, and his name. He said he heard a word that made his stomach drop. I kept my face calm. I said he misheard. I said he was dreaming. I said he was paranoid. I said it was unfair that he listened to private conversations. Ethan did not raise his voice. He said he was not trying to control me. He said he only wanted respect. He asked me to stop. He asked me to care. I told him that his insecurity was the real problem. I told him that if he was strong, nothing would hurt him. I told him that I could not be responsible for his feelings. That sounded smart in my head, like a rule from a book. Ethan stared ahead at the road and did not argue back. That quiet made me feel like I had won. It also made me feel like something was moving under the floor. At work, the office smelled like warm printers and cheap air freshener. I put my bag down and opened my email. My coworker Lacey leaned over the divider and asked how married life was. I said it was fine. She said Ethan seemed intense. When he came to the last company picnic, I said he was protective. I said he worried too much. At lunch, Mara called me on speaker in the break room. She asked if I was still stuck with Mr. Sensitive. I said Ethan had been dramatic lately. She said men only changed when women stopped rewarding bad behavior. She said I should keep him nervous. I laughed, because laughing was easy and it made me feel safe. I told Mara that Ethan acted like a victim. I told her he needed a reminder that I could do better. I did not say that I had already tested that idea in my head. I did not say I liked the attention that came when I acted single. When I got home, Ethan was already there. He had picked up the kids and made pasta. He had wiped the counters. 2 mugs sat on opposite sides of the sink, like a picture of distance. He asked how my day was. I said it was exhausting. I did not ask about his day. After the kids went to bed, Ethan sat on the couch with his laptop. The screen showed his calendar. A new recurring reminder sat there in plain sight. Meeting, personal. The time was early, the kind of time he used to be home. I asked what that was. Ethan said it was something he needed to handle. He said it was not about me. He said he wanted to keep things calm. He closed the laptop a little too fast. I felt heat rise in my chest, not fear exactly, but a thin anger. I asked if he was hiding things. He asked why I always assumed the worst. I said because he was acting suspicious. He asked if I could stop twisting everything. I told him that he was trying to turn it on me. I told him he was avoiding the real issue, which was his insecurity. Ethan breathed in and out like he was counting. He asked me one more time to stop making jokes about his body, especially in public. I looked at him and decided I would not give him that power. I told him he was making a big deal out of nothing, and I went upstairs without touching him. Friday came fast, and I decided it would be a test. I told myself I needed a normal night, a fun night, a night where Ethan would stop acting like a judge. I said it would be good for us to go out with Mara and Jessa. Ethan asked if it had to be them. I said he was proving my point. I spent extra time getting ready. I told myself that looking good was not a crime. Ethan watched me from the bedroom doorway while I fixed my hair. He asked if I was trying to impress someone. I said he was being suspicious again. I said he should be proud to have a wife who still cared. On the drive downtown, Ethan kept both hands on the wheel and said little. I wanted him to talk so I could correct him. His silence made me feel like I was sitting next to a wall. I told him that he always chose the moody approach and then blamed me for feeling lonely. He asked what he could do right in my eyes. I said he could start by not taking everything so personal. The rooftop bar had heaters and bright string lights. Music shook the floor a little. Mara hugged me hard and made a big show of it. She looked at Ethan and acted surprised that he came. She asked if he was allowed to be out late. I laughed and said he liked rules. Ethan gave a small nod and said hello. He did not joke back, which made Mara smile wider. Jessa came with her phone already in her hand. She said she needed content. She asked me to stand under the neon sign for a photo. I did it because it felt good to be chosen. Ethan stood a step away, not sure where to put his hands. Jessa told him to come closer, then made a face like he ruined the shot. I told him to relax. He asked why everything had to be a performance. I said he was ruining the vibe. We sat at a high table near the rail. The city lights looked like glitter. Mara ordered around and asked Ethan what he did at work. He explained his job in simple terms. Mara said it sounded boring. She asked if he ever took risks. Ethan said he took care of patients in his own way. Mara rolled her eyes like she was talking to a child. I leaned into it because I wanted Mara's approval. I told them Ethan never liked attention. I said he was serious in the bedroom and serious in life, like it was a funny curse. Ethan's jaw tightened. He asked why I was talking about private things. I said I was not sharing details. I said he needed to stop being so tense. Mara asked if Ethan always acted scared of jokes. I said he did, and I laughed too loudly. I felt the laughter land on him like a weight, and instead of stopping, I pushed more. I told them he had a fragile ego. I told them he got upset over small comments, and I made it sound like a flaw he refused to fix. Jessa asked if Ethan ever tried to act like a man, in her words. I could see Ethan's eyes shift, like he wanted to stand up and leave, but did not want to make a scene. He asked me to stop letting them talk like that. I said he was policing my friends. I said he was trying to isolate me. The words came out smooth because I had practiced them in my head. Mara made a comment about size, and she laughed before she even finished. I laughed too. I said I had settled, like it was a joke about taste, not a knife. My stomach flipped for a second, but the table laughed, and that felt like warmth. I watched Ethan's face change. He looked pale under the bar lights. He asked if I really thought that. I said he was taking it wrong. I said he should stop hearing insults when nobody meant any. A couple at the next table glanced over. I noticed and felt proud, like we were the interesting table. Ethan asked if we could go home. I said he always made everything about him. I told him to stop acting like a victim in public. Mara nodded like I was brave. Jessa lifted her phone again. She said she wanted a video toast. She told everyone to say something about strong women. I smiled at the camera. Ethan did not smile. Jessa asked why he could not pretend for 10 seconds. Ethan asked why his discomfort was funny to them. I said he was making it deep. I said he was embarrassing me. Later, on the smoking patio, Mara pulled me aside and asked if I was happy. I said I was tired of carrying a man's emotions. I said I wanted to feel wanted, not managed. Mara said I deserved better. She said men learned when women stopped being nice. I agreed, because agreement felt like power. When I returned to the table, Ethan had paid the bill. He told me we should leave. He said he did not want the kids waking up without us. I said he was using the kids to control me. He said he was thinking of them. I said he always made himself the hero. In the elevator down, Ethan asked why I let them talk about his body. He said it was not teasing, it was cruel. I said he was too focused on himself. I said if he were confident, nothing would stick. He asked if I would be okay if he laughed about my body with his friends. I said that was different. I said women lived with judgment every day, and men could handle one joke. In the car, I scrolled through the photos Jessa posted. My face looked bright. Ethan's face looked stiff. The caption made it sound like he was the problem without saying it directly. Ethan asked me to ask Jessa to delete it. I said he was overreacting. I said deleting it would make us look guilty of something. He asked why I cared more about a post than his dignity. I said he was trying to guilt me. At home, Ethan did not follow me upstairs right away. I heard the kitchen drawer open and close. I heard a soft click, like a lock. When I went down for water, he was wiping the counter again, even though it was already clean. He asked me to promise I would not speak about his body again. I said he was asking for too much. I said he was acting like I had committed a crime. Ethan looked at me for a long moment. He asked if I even liked him anymore. I said he was twisting the night into a tragedy. I said he should sleep it off. I went to bed alone and told myself he would come around, because he always did. I told myself he needed a lesson. I told myself I was not the villain. Then my phone buzzed with a tag notification, and I smiled before I could stop myself. Monday felt louder than usual. The open plan office was full of typing and small laughs, but I heard it like a crowd judging me. I opened my computer and tried to act normal. I told myself the rooftop night was just a night. I told myself Ethan would forget it if I stayed firm. At 10, my manager, Denise, walked past my desk and tapped the edge of my monitor. She asked if I had 5 minutes. I said sure, like I was not bothered. My stomach still tightened. Denise led me into a small room with a glass wall. She did not close the blinds. That made it feel like a show. She asked if everything was okay at home. She said she had seen a tagged photo and a few comments. She said she did not care about my private life, but she cared about professional image. She asked if I felt safe. I smiled in a careful way. I said I was fine. I said my husband was emotional lately and people misunderstood. I said he hated being teased and sometimes made things tense. I did not say that I was the one teasing him. I said the photo was just friends having fun. Denise asked if my husband ever came to the office. I said no, not really. She asked if he had contacted anyone here. I said of course not. Then I added that he could be intense, but he was not dangerous. I chose that word on purpose because it made me sound reasonable. Denise nodded and said she was glad to hear it. She said she wanted to keep the workplace calm. She said I should avoid public posts that might bring spillover. I said I understood. I walked out of that room and felt angry, like Ethan had somehow gotten me in trouble without even speaking. Back at my desk, Lacey leaned over and asked what Denise wanted. I said it was nothing, just a check-in. Lacey asked if Ethan was being weird again. I said he was. I said he took jokes too seriously. Lacey said men were fragile. I laughed, because laughing made me feel like I had allies. Around noon, my phone buzzed. It was Mara, sending me screenshots of Jessa's post getting more views. Mara said it was iconic. She asked if Ethan had cried yet. I typed back that he was acting cold, like usual. Mara sent a laughing emoji and said I should keep showing him I was not scared. I told myself that was support, not poison. Then Kyle texted. The preview popped up at the top of my screen. He asked if I wanted to meet later. Same place. My chest lifted in that bright, selfish way. I told myself Kyle was simple. Kyle looked at me like I was a prize. Kyle did not ask for deep talks. Kyle did not act hurt when I spoke. I answered fast and said yes, but I told him I had to keep it short. I used a work excuse in my head before I even needed it. That afternoon, I worked like I was trying to erase something. I processed claims and answered calls. I smiled when I needed to. Inside, I replayed Ethan's face under the bar lights. The pale look, the quiet. I told myself his pain was his choice. I told myself he could stop it by being confident. When I left work, I did not go straight home. I drove to a co-working cafe near the gym. It looked like a workplace, so it made my life feel cleaner. I bought a coffee and opened my laptop. I did check my emails. I also kept looking at the door. Kyle arrived late and acted like it was charming. He sat across from me and lowered his voice like we had a secret. He asked how my weekend went. I said it was stressful. He said my husband sounded controlling. I said my husband was insecure. Kyle said I deserved someone who made me feel wanted. I should have felt shame, but I felt relief. Kyle talked in straight lines. He did not ask what I did wrong. He only asked what I needed. I told him I needed peace. I told him I needed to feel admired. He said he could give me that. He leaned closer and asked if I was ready to choose myself. I said it was complicated. He said complicated was just fear. I liked that answer because it put the blame on my marriage, not on me. I checked the time and said I had to go. Kyle asked when we could meet again. I said I would tell him. He asked if my husband tracked me. I said no, but he worried too much. Kyle told me to turn off location sharing, just in case. I did not answer, but I remembered it. On the drive home, I practiced my story. I told myself I had been at the cafe finishing reports. I told myself Ethan could not prove anything anyway. I told myself I was smarter than that. At home, the living room felt too neat. The kids' shoes were lined up by the door. The dishwasher was running. Ethan was at the table with his laptop open, not on the couch like usual. He looked up when I walked in. He asked how work went. I said it was busy and Denise pulled me into a meeting. He asked why. I said it was routine. He asked what it was about. I said it was about deadlines. I kept my voice light. Ethan nodded once, like he was filing it away. He did not argue. That bothered me more than questions. While I hung my coat, I saw his screen by accident. It was a spreadsheet with dates in a neat column. Some rows had short notes like late, change story, bar post. I pretended I did not see it. I asked what he was working on. Ethan said he was organizing household things. He said he wanted everything clear. He closed the laptop slowly this time, like he was not hiding it, just ending it. Then he asked if I could sit and talk for 5 minutes. I sighed and sat, acting like he was wasting my time. He asked where I went after work. I said I went to the co-working cafe to finish tasks. He asked why I did not text. I said I was focused. He asked why my phone location was off for an hour. My chest tightened. I said I did not know what he meant. I said maybe my battery saved power. He asked if I turned it off. I said he was imagining things. I said he was acting paranoid again. I told him it was not healthy. Ethan watched me quietly. He asked if I had someone else. I laughed once, sharp and short. I said he was being dramatic. I said he saw one social night and turned into a detective. I asked if he wanted to control my whole life. He did not raise his voice. He said he did not want control. He said he wanted the truth. He said he wanted respect in his own home. He asked again if I had someone else. I looked at him and chose anger over fear. I said he pushed me away with his insecurity. I said he made me feel alone. I said if I talked to anyone, it was because he failed me. I said he should look at himself before accusing me. Ethan nodded again, slow. He said he understood my position. He said he would not argue tonight. He said he would focus on what was best for the kids and what was clear. Later, when I went upstairs, my phone buzzed. Kyle sent another message, asking if I missed him already. I smiled without thinking. Then I heard Ethan's phone make a soft beep downstairs, the kind of beep a recording app makes when it starts. My smile froze, and I told myself it was nothing. The next weekend, my mother planned a big dinner at a family restaurant with a long table. She said it was time we all reset. I knew what she meant. She meant I should look fine in front of everyone, and Ethan should look like the difficult one. Ethan drove us. He asked if I wanted him to sit near me or across. I said it did not matter. I said he always overthought simple things. He went quiet, and I told myself that proved he was childish. The restaurant smelled like fried onions and sweet sauce. My mother, Elaine, waved us over like we were late to a party she owned. My stepdad, Caleb, stood and nodded at Ethan in a careful way. My sister, Taryn, was already seated, with her arms crossed like she came ready to judge. Ethan's parents arrived a few minutes later. Diane hugged the kids first. Frank shook Ethan's hand and patted his shoulder once. Diane looked at me and asked how I was doing. I said I was busy and tired, like any wife. I smiled like I was the hero. We sat down. The kids got crayons. Ethan cut Miles's chicken into small pieces without being asked. Nora leaned toward him when she spoke, like his calm was a blanket. That annoyed me, so I decided to pull the focus back to me. Elaine asked Ethan how work was. He said it was busy but stable. Elaine asked if he ever took Undine out anymore. I answered for him and said he was not romantic. I said he liked schedules more than surprises. Ethan looked at me and asked why I said it that way. I said I was just being honest. Caleb asked if we needed help with the kids sometimes. Ethan said help was always nice. I jumped in and said Ethan acted like everything had to be perfect, and it made me feel watched. Ethan asked what I meant by watched. I said he tracked my mood and made everything serious. I said I could not even joke without him getting hurt. Taryn stared at me and asked if my jokes were kind. I laughed like she was cute. I said she was young and did not understand marriage. She asked if marriage meant being cruel. I told her she loved drama. Diane asked if we could keep the dinner peaceful. She said the kids could hear more than we thought. I said I agreed, but then I added that peace was hard when someone took everything personal. I looked at Ethan when I said it. I wanted him to react. Ethan did not react. He picked up his water and drank slowly. He asked me very softly if we could talk about problems at home, not in front of family. I said he was embarrassed because he did not like being called out. I said if he wanted respect, he should earn it. Elaine laughed and said, "Men were too sensitive these days. Mara would have loved that line." Frank did not laugh. He asked Ethan if he was okay. Ethan said he was fine. He said he only wanted a normal dinner. I felt irritation rise, because Ethan sounded calm and reasonable. It made my words look sharp, so I sharpened them more. I told the table that Ethan withheld affection. I said he acted like my body was a problem. I said he made me feel unwanted. Ethan asked me to stop making things up. I said I was not making anything up. I said he was denying my feelings. I said he always tried to make me look unstable. Diane's face changed. She asked me what I meant by withheld affection. Ethan asked Diane not to worry. He said it was private. I said it was not private when I suffered. I watched Nora's crayon pause in her hand. She looked up, then down again. Taryn asked if I even liked Ethan. I said I loved him, but love did not mean I had to accept his weakness. Ethan's jaw tightened. He asked if I could stop using that word. I said he proved it every time he got offended. The food came, and the talk shifted, but the air stayed tight. When Ethan got up to take Miles to the bathroom, Elaine leaned close to me and said Ethan needed a wake-up call. Caleb told her to lower her voice. Taryn whispered that I was hurting everyone. I said she was taking his side because she liked to play rescuer. On the way out, in the parking lot, Ethan asked why I said those things at the table. He said my family was not a stage. I said he forced me to speak because he refused to change. He asked if I wanted a divorce. I said he was threatening me again. He said he was asking, not threatening. At home, the kids went to bed late and cranky. Nora asked Ethan if he and I were mad forever. He told her no, and he said adults sometimes spoke badly when they were stressed. I stood in the hallway and felt angry that he sounded gentle. I told myself he was performing for the kids. 2 days later, at the school pickup line, I sat in the car and watched other parents chat. Ethan stood near the fence with Miles on his hip. Nora ran to him first, then looked at me like she was checking if it was safe. I told myself she was being dramatic, just like her father. In the car, Ethan asked if we could set rules about what we said in front of family. I said rules were his favorite thing. He asked if I could agree to no body jokes, at least. I said he was obsessed with one topic. I said he should move on. He asked why I refused such a simple request. I said because it was not simple. I said it was control. That evening, we stopped at the supermarket. Ethan pushed the cart. I threw items in like I was proving we were fine. At checkout, Ethan used our joint card. The machine beeped and showed a decline message. The cashier looked at us for a second too long. Ethan did not panic. He said it was okay and used another card. He thanked the cashier and bagged the groceries himself. I felt heat crawl up my neck. In the car, I asked what that was. He said it was probably a limit or a fraud check. He said he would handle it tomorrow. At home, after midnight, I came downstairs for water and smelled faint toner in the air. The printer tray was open. A single blank page sat on top, like it had just come out. Ethan was not there, but I heard a drawer close somewhere, soft and final. I told myself it meant nothing. Still, I went back upstairs and lay awake, staring at the ceiling, and I hated how calm he had become. The charity night came with string lights, folding chairs, and too many people who wanted to look kind for one evening. Mara said it would be perfect for me. She said I should wear something bold and remind everyone I was the fun one in my marriage. I agreed because I liked rooms where people watched me. Ethan did not want to go. He asked if we could skip it and stay home with the kids. I said he always tried to shrink my life. He said he did not want to fight in public. I said nobody was planning a fight except him. We dropped Nora and Miles at Ethan's parents' house. Diane hugged the kids and asked if everything was okay. I said we were fine, and Ethan was just stressed. Frank looked at Ethan and asked if he needed help with anything. Ethan said no, but he thanked him in a careful way. In the car, Ethan kept his eyes on the road. He asked what Mara meant when she said there would be a roast. I said it was a joke, and he should stop acting scared of laughter. He asked if my jokes would be kind. I said kindness was not the point of comedy. He went quiet again, and that silence felt like a challenge. The community hall smelled like coffee and rented tablecloths. A local band played soft music near the stage. People stood in little circles, holding drinks and smiling for photos. Mara waved at us like she owned the place. Jessa was already filming short clips for her page. Mara hugged me and said I looked amazing. Then she looked at Ethan and asked if he was ready to take a joke for once. Ethan said he came to support the fundraiser, not to be entertainment. Mara laughed and said he was already starting. I took Ethan's arm and guided him toward the crowd like he was a child who needed direction. He asked if we could just talk to people and keep it normal. I said normal was boring. I said he could stand there and smile and nobody would die. We moved from table to table. People asked about the kids. Ethan answered politely. Then someone asked how long we had been married. I answered fast and said long enough to learn what I could and could not change. I laughed like it was sweet. Ethan's hand tightened around his cup. Mara pulled me close and whispered that the mic was open later for quick thank you speeches. She asked if I wanted to say something funny. I said yes. I told myself that if I controlled the story, nobody could turn it on me. I told myself Ethan needed to learn he could not punish me with sadness. When the speeches started, the room became quiet in that excited way. Jessa lifted her phone. Mara introduced a few people, then waved me up. I walked to the mic with a smile that felt practiced. I thanked the organizers. I thanked the donors. Then I shifted because I could not help it. I said, marriage taught you patience. I said sometimes you married someone who looked strong on paper but needed extra support in real life. I said it lightly, like I was giving advice. A few people laughed because they thought it was harmless. I glanced at Ethan and saw his face. He was not angry in a loud way. He looked tired, like someone who finally stopped hoping. That look scared me, so I pushed again. I said some people could not handle jokes because they were too fragile. I said it like it was a general lesson, but I kept looking at him so everyone would connect it. The room laughed more, and the laughter fed me. I stepped down to applause that did not belong to me, but I took it anyway. After, Ethan asked if we could leave. He said he did not feel well. I said he was trying to ruin my night. He said it was not my night. It was a fundraiser. I said he was jealous because people liked me. He asked why I needed strangers to like me more than I needed my husband to feel safe. I told him he was being dramatic again. I told him he made everything heavy. I told him if he wanted dignity, he should earn it by acting like a man and not flinching at words. He stared at me like he wanted to say something sharp, but he did not. We walked to the parking garage. The air smelled like concrete and car exhaust. Our footsteps echoed. I felt the space around us, and I liked that there were no witnesses now. I wanted him to finally react so I could call him unstable. Ethan asked if I was seeing someone. He did not shout. He did not grab me. He just asked, calm and flat. I laughed and said he was obsessed with that idea. He said my phone habits changed. He said my stories changed. He said he noticed patterns. I told him he sounded paranoid and controlling. I told him he was acting like a detective because he had nothing else to offer. He asked where I went after work last Monday. I said I told him already. He asked why my location was off again yesterday for 2 hours. I said my phone glitched. I said he should stop tracking me like a creep. Ethan reached into his pocket, then stopped, like he remembered he did not want to show me anything. His phone made a soft alert sound. I saw his screen for a second. It was a simple reminder that said paper drop, early morning. He clicked it away fast. I asked what that was. He said it was personal. I asked if he was planning something. He said he was planning peace. I said that sounded like a threat. He said it was not a threat, it was a boundary. We got into the car. Ethan did not start it right away. He looked straight ahead and took one slow breath. He asked if I understood what my words did to him. He said he could take pain, but he could not live inside disrespect. He said the kids were watching us become people they would copy. I rolled my eyes because I hated when he used the kids like a mirror. I said he was using them to manipulate me. He said he was using them to stay calm. Then he turned his head and looked at me fully. He said he would not argue anymore. He said he would not beg anymore. He said he would handle it properly, the right way, because that was what adults did when feelings stopped working. I walked into the office tower lobby like I was late for something important because I needed to feel normal. The floor shined too much. The security desk had a bowl of cheap mints. People in suits moved past me without looking, and I told myself that meant my life was still mine. Ethan was already there, standing near a tall plant. He held a plain folder. He did not look angry. He looked finished. I asked why he was there. He said he was keeping it simple and public so nobody could twist it later. I told him he was being dramatic. I said he wanted to punish me. He said he was not punishing me. He said he was protecting the kids and the home. A woman in a blazer walked toward me with a calm face. She asked if I was Undine Mercer. I said yes. She said she had legal documents for me. I felt my throat tighten, but I lifted my chin like I was above it. I said I would not take anything from Ethan. The woman said she was not with Ethan. She said she was serving me, and it did not matter how I felt. She held out the papers. People nearby slowed down. I hated that my worst moment had an audience. I took the stack and flipped it like I could control it by touching it. The words were sharp and clean. Petition, temporary orders, parenting schedule, financial restraint, a date and time, a clear list of what happened next. I looked at Ethan and asked if he really did this. He said yes. He said he had been writing things down for months. He said he had saved messages, posts, receipts, and timelines. He said he did it quietly because he did not want a war. He said I made it necessary. I told him he was cold. I said he was proving he never loved me. He said he loved the kids enough to stop the chaos. He said the orders were temporary, but the boundaries were real. I read the line about the home and felt heat rise in my face. It said he had temporary use of the house, and I had a move-out schedule that started tonight. It said spending from joint accounts would be limited. It said communication should be written and structured. It said school pickups were already set for the week. My phone buzzed. A bank alert showed a limit notice. I tried my card at the lobby cafe register like it was a joke, and it declined. Ethan checked his watch and said he would pick up Nora and Miles at 6 as written. Then he walked away without looking back.